second here. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So here you can see I'm inside my East Bay course here on Blackboard Ultra.
Okay.
And I've created some assignments, and I'm going to go ahead and scroll down and open up this assignment here. It's going to open up my inbox for my assignment. And here you can see we kind of have a new view, but you can see here's where my student's name is. I have a paper title, I have my paper ID. This is a great, paper ID is what you're going to need in case any students have any issues with the submission. They're going to want to include their paper ID. Also the date it was uploaded, whether or not the student has actually viewed any of the feedback that you've given. We have a grade here, and then also our similarity report. If you click on the similarity report score or the grade, it's going to open up Feedback Studio. So this might look different to you than from the classic view, if you used classic view in the past. Here is an example of what the classic view looked like, if you remember this.
Yeah.
You can see it had a different feel to it, a different look. In the past, you can see with this red arrow here that in order to be able to check originality and see matching, you would have to check this box next to originality. If you wanted to have the grade mark feature open, which looks like this, where you can drag and drop quick marks or add comments, you needed to turn this on. And then you also had a peer mark button as well that you could toggle between. This in the Feedback Studio, you'll see that peer mark no longer exists inside Feedback Studio. It is now accessed through your Blackboard course as a separate assignment.
Okay.
And one thing you probably also remember is if you had originality on, you couldn't have grade mark on at the same time.
Right.
Either or. And in Feedback Studio, now it overlays everything for you so you can run it all at the same time.
Okay.
You'll also notice some different items here, such as down here, this little yellow arrow. The ability to click on this little eye down here would give you submission information. You also had some iPad app information, as well as the ability to print. That still exists, but you'll notice it's just in a different place inside Feedback Studio.
Okay.
And when moving through all of the different match overviews, you have the ability to toggle between your match overview and your all sources view with this button here. And then down here, you had a filter button as well as an exclusion button. Those still exist, they're just in a different place now. If you ever use the text-only report, you can use it in Feedback Studio. You just have to hit the tab button and it will open up for you. So there's no longer a button for text-only reports.
Okay.
And then similarly on the grade mark side, you notice these little purple bubbles here. That is our ETS E-Rater. It's an artificial intelligence system that checks for grammar, spelling, usage, mechanics, and style. That still exists, but you can turn this on, off or on. It came up with grade mark before, but now you have the ability to toggle between them if you want. And then just like before with the originality screen, you have your buttons down here listed. These still exist. They're just in a different place, and we'll walk through those here in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and head back to Feedback Studio. As you can see now, it's got branding of Feedback Studio up here in the top left. We can see our student's name and the name of the student's paper. You can scroll through the paper by using the scroll over here on the right, or you can actually open up this little thumbnail and you can toggle through pages this way as well.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Here's your student score. You can move in and type in the score if you want to. You can also grade by rubric. That will alter the score as well, so you have those two abilities. If you have multiple students, you can click this little drop down here and it'll list all your students, and you can jump through from student to student without having to close this out and go back in for each student and open up each paper.
Great.
So you can quickly toggle through students, or if you just want to move to the next student, you can click this little arrow here and it'll just move you from student to student.
Okay.
Up here on the right, we have our little help button with some popular articles like interpreting the similarity report, viewing the similarity report, rubrics and grading forms, commenting tools and layers, and then also the full help guide. I'll take you to our help guide at turnitin.com. And then lastly, if you've got any good ideas or you see anything that we could change and make things better, please let us know and you can provide us feedback.
Okay.
Over here on the right, you can see we now have layers, or what we're calling layers. So if I click on this right here, it shows us our active layers. So right now, the only thing we're seeing is our matching, our similarity.
Mm-hmm.
Click on grading. You'll notice if I scroll down, now we have some comments that I've added.
Yeah.
And then if I click on e-rater, you'll notice these little purple items pop up here.
Mm-hmm.
So you can come in and you can turn these off, or you can have them all layered on top of each other at one time.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and leave these as is. And I'm going to close out that layer. And our first layer here is the grading layer. So if I click on this button here, you can see here's all our quick marks that you're probably used to.
Mm-hmm.
So I can still drag and drop a quick mark wherever I want to. If I click on this quick mark here, it gives us our description. I can also add a comment as instructor if I'd like to add another comment. I can format that. I can add a link if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm using a rubric inside Turnitin, I can actually add criterion to my rubric. So I can click on this. Here's my rubric here, and I can add this to maybe introduction. And it will now start to tally those for me so that when I get to my rubric, I can start to see how many items I have per area of my rubric.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't like, or at some point I decide I don't want this, I can always just trash it.
Okay.
Okay. You also have the ability to actually click into the paper. So if I just left click right here, you can see I get 3 options. The first option is to go ahead and add a quick mark. So I can drag and drop, or I can click right into the paper and add a quick mark this way. The difference is you drag and drop where you want it. This way you just click where you want it and then add a quick mark. But it's either or, and it's the exact same thing as dragging and dropping. So I can click into it, choose a quick mark, choose that one. Again, it's going to give me the ability to add my own comment if I want to. And again, I can assign criterion if I want.
Okay.
If I click into it again, I can now add an actual comment. So this is a comment created just by myself. So maybe I can add my own comment here. Again, I can format it. I can add criterion if I want to. And if I decide that I'm adding the same comment over and over and over again, I can actually convert this to a quick mark by just
great.
Mark. Yep. And I can just title it whatever I want. I can choose which set of quick marks I'm using. So right now I'm in my commonly used set over here.
Mm-hmm.
But I can create my own as well. But I'll go ahead and add it to commonly used and click save. And now if I scroll down here, oh, here it is. Now I have an office hours quick mark that I can just drag and drop wherever I want. Okay. Lastly, if I went through the quick mark comments, and then if I click into it, I can add an inline text.
Mm-hmm.
So I can type right into the paper and leave that right there.
Okay.
I also have the ability, if I want to highlight. And if I highlight, it gives me, again, the ability to add a quick mark if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
The nice thing about this is I can also choose what color I want to highlight in case it's against the matching. I want to change the highlight. I can choose that. I can add my own comment if I want to. The other nice thing is if I click out of this, you'll notice if I drag this, it's going to create a line directly to that highlight. So the student knows exactly where this quick mark goes.
Okay.
Likewise, if I highlight and add a comment, again, I can choose my own color. And when I grab that, I can pull this over here, and it again will create a direct line to that comment. The last thing you can do if you highlight is you can actually strike through if you want to. So you can see you can actually strike through, and then you can add your own comment to that if you want to. Any questions about quick marks or comments?
No, I like the changes.
Oh, great. Okay. So the other thing I'll show you before we jump to our next item here is this little gear. You might remember before it was a little wrench inside the classic view. It is now a gear. It does the same thing, which is going to take us to our quick mark manager. So here's all of my quick marks inside my commonly used set. These are all my quick marks. If I click on this little menu item here, you can see I can create a brand new set. So I could call this my set and click save. And now if I open this up again, you can see that I now have the ability to create my own set under my set. And if I open it up, it's empty. But if I wanted to, I could go to any of my sets here. And
Mhm.
I could use this quick mark here, and I could click add to set, and I could choose my set. And now I'm adding quick marks to my own set of quick marks, my set of quick marks, so that if you don't want to use commonly used or composition and you want to create your own set, you can. And the nice thing about that too is you can upload a set. If maybe a colleague has given you a set of their quick marks, you can upload those, or you can also download your own set and share them with any colleagues you might want to.
Okay.
And likewise, if I don't want to go through each set, like clicking on each set to pull into my own, I can click on all. It will list all of our quick marks. You can see there's a lot of them.
Mhm.
And then you can kind of just go through and decide which ones you want to set, or which ones you want to add to your own set. And as you add them, it will start to build out. If I go back to my set here, you can see here are the 3 that I just added.
Yeah.
So when I click close, I can now come back to my quick marks here, and you can see I have my list of like commonly used. But I can also choose my set of quick marks, and I can now add these and work from that. So that's how you use the quick mark manager. Any questions about that?
Nope, that's great.
Very good. So our next item here in our gradebook layer is our feedback summary. So you do have the ability to leave a voice comment up to 3 minutes.
Okay.
You have the ability to leave a summative summary, feedback summary for them as well, up to 5,000 characters. You can format it, you can add links if you want to. When the student opens up Feedback Studio on their side, they'll be able to hear your voice comment and read your feedback.
Okay.
The next item here is our rubric. So when I created my assignment, I actually added a rubric to it so that I could grade by rubric if I wanted to. So you can see we have these little sliding scales here, and I can change my grades. I can move through, and I can grade. And once I've chosen all my grades per rubric, I can click on Apply Grade, and you'll see this 87 up there turn to a 77.
Okay.
So you can grade by the rubric. Again, it's not set in stone. If I thought he really deserved a 78, I can go up and change it if I want to.
Okay. I have a question.
Sure.
If I have a rubric set up already in Blackboard for an assignment, will it use that rubric, or do I have to load it separately in?
You will have to load it separately during the assignment creation phase. You'll have the ability to add a rubric.
Uh-huh.
And actually, what I'll show you here too is our rubric manager.
Okay.
You'll be able to add or create your own rubrics, but if you've added them to Blackboard but not into your Turnitin assignment, they won't show up here. So very good question.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll see here also these little bubbles. When I was adding criterion to my quick marks or to my comments, these are the little tallies that I mentioned. So if I click on that, you can see these are the comments that I left for this area of my.
Yeah. Okay.
If you find that you don't like using the sliders here, you can click on this little use full size rubric button here, and it will open up. Oops, 1 second here. See if it opened up in a new page. I apologize. Oh, I'm sorry. I think my computer has given me, oh, there we go.
Brian?
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry. 1 second here. I opened up a whole bunch. So here is, can you see my screen okay?
I can.
Okay, so here is my rubric manager. You can see I've added a rubric called Persuasive Paper.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to, I can go ahead and click on what grades I think they deserve for that area.
Good.
If I open this up, I can apply this to grade, and it will actually change the grade on my paper.
Okay.
Let me scroll up here, or actually let me make that a little smaller. Oh, you know what? It opened up multiples here. I apologize. It wasn't responding, and I clicked it a couple times. Now I have multiples opened up. I apologize. Okay, so you do have the ability to add your own rubrics. Keep in mind that if you want to import your own rubric, we accept 2 file types. The file types we accept is a .rbc file type, and that file type can be found in our rubric library at turnitin.com. We have a number of rubrics available for instructors to download and use if they want to. That's where I got this persuasive paper. And it will be in a .rbc format. The other format we accept is an Excel format. Now, the only thing is, if you want to import, you'll have to make sure that your Excel is formatted correctly. And we give you a template that you can use so that you can copy and paste into it. But it needs to be in the right format. That Excel sheet needs to be in the right format for it to accept it. So we'll accept .rbc from our rubric library, or it will accept an Excel sheet as long as it's formatted using our template that we give you.
Okay.
So you can also download rubrics and share them with colleagues. And you can, or a colleague can upload one and share one with you. So you have that ability too.
Great.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. That's going to bring us back to our feedback studio. Do you have any questions about rubrics?
Where do I find the rubric library?
So if you go to turnitin.com, you can find our rubric library there.
Okay.
It's a great place. I think we have over 50 or maybe 75, 80 different rubrics that you can go through and take a look at and decide what to use.
Terrific.
And then once you've uploaded those, you can then go in and edit them if you want to.
Oh, good.
Yeah, completely available to you. Great question. Okay, any other questions about any of the grading layer before I move on to the originality layer?
Nope.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and you can see it gives us 4 options here. First option here is this is our match overview. Here's my score, my originality score as a student. Here are all of my largest matches, and you can see they're all color-coded. So here's this number 1, goes with our number 1 here. This number 5 in green goes with our green number 5 over here. So these are our largest matches, and you can see what source they've come from. If I actually click into that largest match here, it's going to break it down into all the smaller matches that actually reside within that larger match. So this is an 18% match of by word count of my paper. It's 18%. But within that 18% here, there have been other students or possibly other sources that have also used this, this material. So you can see here's a student's submitted to the University of Sunderland. Now you can't see the student's paper because it's not part of your institution, but if you actually wanted to, you could reach out to the instructor and ask to see that student's paper if you wanted to. Can't guarantee you that they're going to share it with you. And one of the issues that we run into is when you do try and contact the instructor, it's going to try and contact them by the email they used in their course. So we can't guarantee that there's still an instructor there, or that email address has changed. So sometimes it doesn't go where it needs to be because all we can do is really send it to that last known email address. So just something to keep in mind. You can also see that it matched 17% to this internet source here. If I click on that, it shows us our match within the context of that article. If I want to see a larger view, I can click the full source view, and then it will show me the matches within that article. And then I can also click on the link itself and open up that article. Okay. So that was our full source matching. If I click on this, I apologize, I went quick there. This is our all sources. So before we were looking at our match overview, which were our largest matches, and then we can break those larger matches down into all the smaller matches that reside within them. Or I can click on my all sources view here, and it's going to give me an entire list of every match. So you can see it's quite long, all the way down to 1%. If I start to find that, okay, 1%, that's pretty tiny, I don't need to see those, I can click on exclude sources, and I can come in and take these out of the list. And just click exclude, and they will now fall off that list and no longer be a part of it. Okay. Again, you can click on any of these matches, and it's going to show you that article and the matching within that article, as well as a breakdown of the smaller matches that reside within. If I open this back up, I have a filters button and filters and settings. And if I click on that, you can see I have the ability on a paper-by-paper basis to exclude quotes and bibliography, and also any sources that are so small that I'm just not interested in them. So you had mentioned that you have students writing research type papers quite often.
Yeah.
So with using, as you can imagine, having a lot of quotes and a large bibliography, it's going to drive up that score quite a bit because there's going to be. So you could come in here, and again, this is on a paper by paper basis, and you could exclude quotes and you could exclude bibliography, and you can decide, I don't want to see those 1% matches. So I could come in here and decide, also get rid of any matches that are 3% or less. And then you can apply those changes or run a new report, and it will give that student and yourself a brand new score.
Okay.
You also have the ability when you're creating your assignment to do this on a global assignment level. There are options in there to turn these on, so you don't have to do it paper by paper.
Good.
So yeah, keep an eye out for those because that will help you as well.
Okay.
Any questions about filters and settings or any of the other items we've gone through here?
No, I think they're going to be very helpful.
Okay, great. The last button we have here is our excluded sources. So if you remember when we were looking at our source view, I went ahead and excluded a bunch of 1% matches. And so these are my matches here.
Okay.
And if I wanted to, I could come back in and I could restore these if I want to, or I could restore them all and they'll all go back to my larger source match. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, great. Any questions before I move on to the ETS rater?
No, I think I'm good so far.
Okay, great. So if I click on the next layer here, which is our E-rater by ETS, like I mentioned before, it automatically will check for grammar, mechanics, style, usage, and spelling. You can turn these off or on if you want to by checking the little box. If I scroll down here, you can see this is my ETS E-rater comment. If I or a student clicks on that comment, it's going to open up a comment for them, as well as the ability for you, if you just don't think this is necessary, you can click dismiss and it will just disappear from your view and the student's view.
Okay.
The student also has the ability to click on View Handbook, and it will open up our online handbook for them. Okay. When they're inside that handbook, they have the ability to click on the table of contents if they want to go to some of the other areas of the handbook.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Let me go back to my Mac Studio. And again, like I mentioned before, you can turn these off if you want to. Any questions about the E-rater?
No, I think you covered everything.
Okay, great. So our last button here down here is this little gear. And you remember from the classic view, down in the left corner, we had the ability to take a look at submission information, iPad information, and the ability to print. So we do still have that little I for that submission information. If I click on that, it shows us our submission information, our submission ID, submission date, word count, character count, page count, all that good stuff. If a student wants to print that up, they can click on this little download button here, and they can click on digital receipt, and it will give them all that information that they can then print up.
Okay.
They also have the ability to download the originally submitted file, and that will show them if it was a Word doc or PDF, it will download it in that file for them.
Okay.
And then there's also the current view, which creates a really nice comprehensive document that includes all of the information we just covered. So if I click on current view, you can see it's preparing a download. And then down here on the left, you can see it's downloaded for me, and I'm going to open that up. So this was a 3-page paper, but you can see it generated a 9-page document.
Wow.
So
Okay.
if I scroll through, you can see here's my title and by my student. Here's that submission information. Here is my paper along with all of my comments, all of my matching. So students can see everything as well as the ETS comments. If we scroll down, they can see their matching and the percentages of where that matching came from as well as their largest matches. You can see whether we had quotes turned off or on or any of those exclusions. Here's our score as well as every comment and every quick mark that we added by page.
Okay.
And then lastly, if you used a rubric, it includes that rubric too.
That's really good.
Yeah, and it includes how they scored in that rubric. So this is a great document that they can take to a writing lab or to a tutor or possibly back to your office hours so that you guys can take a deeper look at things. And so this is available. This is available to you as the instructor and also to the student by just clicking on this little gear, downloads button, and the current view.
Okay, great.
Okay?
That will be very helpful.
Yeah. So that is the differences between Classic View and our new Feedback Studio. Do you have any questions?
I can't think of any right now.
Okay, well, thank you very, very much for joining us today. If you don't have any questions, that's really all I had to go over.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, Ryan. I really appreciate this.
You're very welcome. Have a great, great day.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay. Bye, Manpreet. Bye, Ryan.